Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Mills, for being here. Appreciate your efforts and everything that you're trying to do to help small businesses in the country. Just listening to some of your testimony, I'd like to get a little bit of clarification. You'd mentioned that in order to be able to get the banks to start making loans again, you'd streamline some paperwork. Can you describe a little bit for us what were the actual cost savings to the bank as an incentive, the streamlining of that paperwork?
I know we have that, but I don't have it here, so I'm happy to get back to you.
You know, I think we'd like to hear that because we often hear government is simplifying things, and that rarely is actually the case. And in terms of trying to be able to create some cost savings, because that is a real issue. You'd also mentioned that non-performing loans are dropping.
Correct.
Right now. Is that a result of an improving economy, or is that a result that people have simply gone bankrupt and they're no longer on the board?
Our loan portfolio is made up of cohorts that were performing in, that were made in 2005, 2006, right. 2007. Many of those, when you look at our delinquency rate, failed in the recession, and therefore caused a peak about 14 months ago in August 2008 of our portfolio. Our overall default rate peaked 14 months ago, and now it is improving slowly as those loans have passed through the portfolio.
So the stabilization was that businesses basically went belly up.
Well, actually, the new loans are defaulting. They're early, but they are defaulting at a much, much lower rate, measured by from their month from inception than the loans from those previous cohorts. So we anticipate that this improvement will continue. Right. We also know that credit scores on our current portfolio of loans made in recent years are much stronger.
Okay. You'd mentioned that there's a commitment of $20 billion in commitments from the larger banks. How much of that's been loaned out?
We made the announcement on this 3 or 4 weeks ago, so probably not very much yet, but it's coming.
Okay, great. You know, looking through your written testimony, you seem to give a tip of the hat to the President in regards to the $467 billion stimulus and indicated that it was paid for. My concern, a lot of our constituents' concerns that are small businesses, is it's being paid for on the backs of businesses that are currently struggling in terms of increased tax rates. Could you speak to that?
We're talking about the American Jobs Act.
Right.
And the American Jobs Act has received very strong support from the small business community because it includes a payroll tax cut, which they are very eager to get because it means cash in their pocket right away. Those, as I understand it, no specific pay-for yet has been decided because the bill is still in the hands of Congress. But definitely small businesses are looking for that cash from the payroll tax cut in their pocket.
Do you think small businesses are going to be concerned about increased tax rates? I have a letter here from a gentleman named Jim Bartmus, small construction company in Pueblo, Colorado. Been a successful business, small business, and because of a lack of access to capital, he paid down his line of credit to zero. Went back to the banks trying to get that line of credit re-upped. He'd actually purchased a crusher, if you're familiar with construction, to be able to grind up rocks to put on the roads, trying to grow his business and to be able to create jobs. But because of regulatory compliance, the banks, they wanted to loan the money but could not loan the money. He had to line up his equipment, sell it off, call in 24 core employees, tell them that they no longer had a job. But under the President's calculations right now, and it is some debate, and we both need to probably pass on the message that the plan is not paid for, he would have been labeled as rich a couple of years ago. Do you think it's counterintuitive, in fact counterproductive, to be raising taxes on small businesses at this time?
Well, first of all, if you have another small business like this, or he is still available, please tell your small business owner in that situation to get on SBA.gov and come into our district office, because that's exactly the situation where we can help. And one of our jobs and my tasks before me is to make sure that small businesses are aware that when the bank can't, because of regulatory issues, our guarantee can often, very often make the difference.
So that's a lot of cleanup that we could do in addition to streamlining paperwork, eliminating those regulatory requirements on banks so that they can loan. Wouldn't you agree?
We have sat with banks, and I sit on a continuous basis with the regulators to make sure that the guidance they have given on small business lending at the top is making its way all the way down to the regional, their regional regulators, so that we have a consistent set of regulations at the banks so that they can open their doors to small businesses and get some of this money out into their hands.
Well, I hope that'll happen. I see my time's expired. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.